I'm here with one of the absolute greatest of all time in every aspect of professional wrestling. Ahead of his time, the one and only superstar, Billy Graham. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you tonight. What brings you out here to WrestleMania weekend and Pro Wrestling Syndicate?
Well, listen, this is a great turnout, first of all, for the event tonight, and everybody has been, the fans have really been generous, and as you just mentioned, expressing their gratitude for my career, and so I'm just trying to return some goodwill to the fans by signing autographs and shaking hands and meeting and greeting new folks for the first time. And I've always found that New Jersey and New York, Boston, Philadelphia, places like that have always generated the most highly intense fans across all borders and all cities and all towns. So it's good to be in New Jersey where the fans are really intense, and good to be on your show. And I'm just having a great time signing autographs and meeting and greeting the folks.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. One man I wanted to mention to you is Bruno Sammartino. Your careers are synonymous with each other. They go hand in hand. Just many great battles at Madison Square Garden. And Saturday night, WWE Hall of Fame, Bruno Sammartino finally gets in. Now, we all know your take on the WWE and the Hall of Fame, but just erase that for a minute. Let's hear your thoughts on Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, well, if you want, would you hand me that DVD, sir? Yeah, here's my thoughts on. This is a brand new DVD. If you want to zoom in, tonight is actually the first release called Face to Face. And as you notice in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a photo of Bruno and I together during one of our mini matches. On the back is a photograph of Ric Flair, myself, Dusty Rhodes hanging me in the bull rope match in Madison Square Garden, training with Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1968. Another shot with Arnold. So I'd like to mention that my face-to-face DVD is on, and we'll give you a graphic to put up where the fans can. We'll give you a graphic. But to answer your question, I presented this DVD on videotape because you asked me about Bruno. I hold him in high regard. That's why I put him on the cover of my DVD. Despite the fact that there are some very serious questions I have about him, saying that he's only receiving $5,000 like all the other Hall of Fame inductees going in this year. I find that very, very distasteful. And I go into detail in my DVD Face to Face about my displeasure with Bruno not telling his fans the truth about his true payoff for going into the WWE Hall of Fame, which is pretty much, from what I understand from a very trusted friend, in the millions of dollars. Big money. And I'm happy for Bruno to get the money and to get the payoff he deserves. But I'm very disappointed in him telling his fans that have really worshipped him and idolized him, and even me myself as his opponent for many years have really idolized the man and have paid tribute to him and honored him. I'm very disappointed in him not telling the truth about his Hall of Fame induction payoff and insisting that he's only getting $5,000. When everybody I've talked to really almost defies that. It's almost beyond belief that he was. It's too bad that he has to say that. It's too bad that pro wrestling in general, I believe, has always had to degenerate to that point of deception, even to this high level of people were talking about Bruno Sammartino, a true living legend, a man who laid down for me and gave me the WWF belt, Worldwide Wrestling Federation belt, in April 30th, 1977 in Baltimore, Maryland. And so it's just sad. It's sad that pro wrestling has to put certain conditions on certain people. And like The Rock, for example, a very nice young man. I wrestled his father, Rocky Johnson. I wrestled his grandfather, the High Chief, Peter Maiva, from Samoa, very close to his mother, Ata. And I see The Rock really jacked up on steroids like I've never seen it before. Currently, going into WrestleMania, is this 29 going into WrestleMania 29, just days away now doing this interview with you. And I see him jacked up on steroids because I know when someone's on steroids because superstar Billy Graham is taking steroids. And I enjoy taking steroids and would have never had this physique without the use of anabolic steroids. And so it just disheartens me to see people like The Rock not have to pee in the cup and get his urine tested for steroid testing. It's like selective testing going on with The Rock, because he is very muscular. His arms are huge. I saw him the other night on maybe Jay Leno or one of those talk shows, and he is so ripped and so jacked up on steroids that even the muscle tissue that covers his jawbones are ripped. And so these are telltale signs when you see his arms really are massive that he's taking steroids and not being tested for taking steroids, because that's their policy, is to have a non-steroid company. So it's too bad that, but all that aside, we're having a great time here in New Jersey. Being interviewed by you, my pleasure, and talk about wrestling, and the folks here on the edges of their seats are watching the matches with guys who are really putting their health on the line. There's some guys out here I've been watching, taking some really serious falls and moves that really pros can only take, and will eventually possibly catch up to them with some serious injuries. So it's a tremendous can take a tremendous toll on your body, as it has mine, and over the years. But nevertheless, despite all the faults of pro wrestling, it's still a tremendous venue for atmosphere that we're expressing tonight, and having and showing, and the fun that people are having. There are people having fun here, real honest to God, clean family fun. I see no vulgarity or anything that's disruptive to a child that's 8 years old could watch this. And I think that's good. I think that's a good thing. It's a great thing. And so I'm here enjoying myself. I got a chance to get on your show and be happy to promote it. Let's send it around the world. Let's go around the world. Let's get it on the satellite, brother. On the satellites. Let's get it on cable. Let's get it on the internet. Let's get it on cell phones. Let's put it out everywhere. This thing goes everywhere. All around the world.
We'll be sure to do that. Superstar, it's been an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.
Thank you. My pleasure. Remember, the superstar Billy Graham is still the man of the hour. The man with the power too sweet to be sour, my brothers and sisters.
Baby, I love it. Welcome to my podcast, man. I just watched that back for the first time in a while, and holy crap, watching superstar Billy Graham. Me sitting there with the legend, as you heard, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour, this superstar, the one and only Billy Graham, dude. They don't make him like that anymore, and that goes without a shadow of a doubt. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. My name is Jay Aletto. I don't hide behind the PWP Nation logo all the time, in case you were wondering. I'm still getting a little set up here, waiting for Casey Rocket. He did tell me he would be here, so I am hoping that he abides by his word today. I hope you can hear me fine. I hope the audio is good. What's up? Going out to my boy Laser Neon. What's up, Jamal? How you doing, buddy? We're here live on X, live on YouTube, live on where else? Facebook, live on good old Facebook. My partners in crime. I really am. I would like to take a second here first and foremost before Casey Rocket joins us. If he joins us, he did tell me he would be here. He texted me back, unless, this is like a ultimate comedy kind of like prank thing. He did text me back about 90 minutes ago, right? And he said, sounds good. Apologize for the last time that we tried to do this and it didn't work out. But we're going to try to do it again today. So let's hope he clicks on that link. Let's hope he gets in here, and let's hope we can talk some wrestling topics with Casey Rocket. And I want to specifically talk to him for only about 10 minutes or so. Not going to be a long conversation. It's going to be a quick hitter. I want to promote what he's doing. And I also want to talk about the specific wrestling topics that he has brought up on the #1 comedy podcast, the #1 live podcast in the world, Kill Tony, starring Tony Hinchcliffe, Brian Redband, and a cast of characters that is its own universe in of itself. So Kill Tony is a tremendous comedy show. One of my passions is comedy. I'm doing great, Laser Neon. I am freaking feeling good today. I fasted for most of the day. I was trying to get through 24 hours, but before I got on the show, had to eat a little something. But I ate a ton yesterday, exercised today, got a lot of sunlight in, worked hard, got those sales calls in today. And I'm going to continue doing that probably after this. We'll see how long this goes for. We'll see how, see if anybody's around, if anybody wants to chat. I will be here probably for the duration of the hour. And we'll see how long I go for. I did want to talk for a second while we wait for Casey Rocket, if he does decide to show up today. Hope he does. He's a good guy, I think. Funny guy. Real funny guy. And I'm trying to get outside of the box here a little bit with the wrestling industry, right? One of the things that worries me about professional wrestling is it's very, very niche. It's super niche. And we tend to push people out who try to get in, just as fans, people who work in the industry as well. So I like to talk to people outside the industry about the industry, if that makes sense. So Casey Rocket is somebody who is on the #1 podcast weekly. I wanted to talk to him a bit about the similarities between a live comedy podcast and what a live wrestling show would be like. So I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that. But we're also going to talk about the topics he's brought up on the show. And that is the Chris Benoit tragedy. He mentioned that. And I want to get his opinion on what exactly he meant on Kill Tony. I also want to talk about, he mentioned the plane ride from hell. The guy's a wrestling fan. He's bringing up some inside baseball. So I want to ask him about the plane ride from hell, why he brought that up in the middle of his stand-up set. And also the most puzzling thing that he has said in the middle of his stand-up comedy routine, which is hilarious, by the way. Hope he joins me today at some point. Another thing is why he wanted to get revenge on John Cena on Shawn Michaels' behalf at WrestleMania 23. So I want to hear about that as well. Want to say what's up to Marie Shadows in the house. What is up? Thank you so much for joining me today. I do greatly appreciate it on the YouTube. Also streaming on X and on Facebook. And next time, we're going to have Rumble ready to go. Next time, we're going to have Twitch ready to go. We're going to get everything streaming. And this might be something that I do pretty regularly now. I might be doing this at night. I'm happy I had a show last week to talk about a little bit about the Chris Benoit tragedy, talk about some other things that were on my mind about wrestling. Today, we will definitely, undoubtedly, tear into Ricochet's final Raw appearance, which should be tonight. We'll talk about that and a little bit more. So we'll see what's going on here in just a minute. I'm going to give Casey Rocket just a moment. I did want to mention, by the way, shout out to my friends over at GTS Wrestling. You guys are doing a lot of great work over there. I do appreciate it. Anytime that I get to head over to the yard and contribute to the show in any way, shape, or form, wish I can come more often. I will be showing up there more often, hopefully in the future, as long as the schedule abides by what I needed to abide by. But as a sales guy, it's that's tough. Let's see here. So Yonex and switch to the tube. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And your opinions are needed in the space. Thank you, Marie Shadows. I really appreciate that. And I think my opinions are needed as well. And that's why I want to do this more. And I want to get more people that have similar opinions, a similar voice, and I want to join everybody together. That was the whole point of starting this website 10 plus years ago now. 2012 was when I started this little venture, this little hobby, this little side hustle that has, been pretty good, been pretty fruitful over the years. As you saw in the opening, if you caught it, I interviewed superstar Billy Graham, rest in peace to the superstar. He died a year ago last month. And, when I said at the end of that interview, I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. It's true. Like, that is true. And I do appreciate a lot of the support I've had over the years. And I do appreciate people who have talked to me online or have done an interview or I've exchanged quips with, even just conversations, banter, whatever the case may be, even if it's negative.
even if it's rooted in negativity, I don't mind it. Okay. I don't mind having these conversations. So superstar Billy Graham, man, I'll never forget that. I just let him go at the end. I don't know if you noticed, but he just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And that's the beautiful thing about doing interviews, right? You get somebody who talks a lot, you don't have to do a lot of the work as the interviewer. Many years ago, during the early days of this website, I was, smart. It wasn't paying. I should have never stopped doing the original podcast. That's for sure. I should have never stopped. But again, my schedule dictated what I was doing at the time. I had a stretch of like, I don't know how many I did in a row, how many weeks in a row, definitely over 52 weeks in a row. May have taken a week off here or there of original podcasts, live radio shows back in 2012, 13, and into 14. And then I kind of faded off because my career took over. We all know the story. I take full responsibility on that. Should never stop though, because I had so much great content, still do. And I plan on bringing a lot of that back and repurposing it and listening to a lot of it, because there are going to be a lot of great wrestling stories in there, especially 10, 11 years ago when things weren't as PC. Some of the interviews that I had, Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, I remember he told a crazy story that I'll share in the future. Oh my goodness, dude. I believe we're going to be joined in just a moment here by Casey Rocket. And man, I'm excited. Okay, I'm really pumped about this. I'm going to bring him on in just a hot second. But I want to say, like, we have a lot of archival content that's coming soon. Interviews from the past: Lex Luger, Diamond Dallas Page, Jake the Snake Roberts, Maria Kanellis, Mike Bennett, Ricky Morton, as I mentioned, Kevin Matthews, a ton of great stuff. Bruce Hart, tons of content with Bruce Hart. But right now, I want to introduce the one and only, and I say that about everybody, but this guy truly is a one of a kind. I've never seen a stand-up comedian like this. Here he is. It's Casey freaking Rocket. What's up, Casey? How's it going, man?
Woohoo! What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh, man. I am honored to have the one and only Big Boy LaCroix on the podcast, man. What's up, dude?
Big Boy LaCroix. Happy to be here, man. It's exciting. Talking about wrestling. Add my little stinky Diamond Dallas Page for you. Beautiful.
Love it. Well, dude, I've been hyping this up for a couple of days now, and the people who are listening are pumped up to talk to you and to hear about the specific wrestling like topics you've brought up on Kill Tony. All right. And I'm a diehard wrestling fan going back my entire life. I'm doing this podcast thing. It's a huge part of my life. It's like 90% of my life right now. Comedy is a huge part of your life. There are similarities between the two industries. So before we get into those specific topics and how you kind of incorporated them into your stand-up routine, I'd like to find out from you, from a Kill Tony regular, somebody who's, the sky's the limit for you, brother. The similarities between the wrestling industry, from what you know, and the stand-up comedy industry.
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, the pageantry is the same. I get a lot of, I get influenced by wrestling for sure. There's nothing like it, but it's so performative, inherently. So I think there's definitely, if you're doing it right, not that there's a wrong way to do it, but yeah, man, wrestling is, they're so out there. They're so committed. So I try to keep that in mind. You don't want to break face. Not that I'm doing a character. I'm just being a little stinker, but wrestlers, they commit so fully. So I definitely try to keep that in mind when I go on stage, to be brave like they are. Yeah. It's very similar. Yeah.
Getting out of your comfort zone, building up through the ranks, right? Like you start at the independent level, you're doing open mics, and you've been in the game for over a decade now doing comedy, right?
Yeah, about a decade. Yeah, close to
Beautiful.
Yeah, right, there's definitely, for sure, man. Yeah, you got to pay your dues. It's very similar, yeah.
And lately, that's paying off. You're making a lot of noise out there. You're headlining huge events. You'll be coming to Madison Square Garden very soon, hopefully, for a live Kill Tony event. And talk to me a little bit about that, about how that's similar to wrestling. Like that's got to be, that's the mecca for professional wrestlers. They want to get to Madison Square Garden. Tell me a little bit about that, how that's going to feel being at the mecca of professional wrestling in stand-up comedy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I look forward to it. I've never been there. I've never been to New York City, but definitely I think that's any performer's dream, is to get to MSG. So, yeah, hopefully we'll have to see how that works out. Hopefully I'll be there riffing. Should be. We'll see. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm pumped. Yeah, I've never done an arena. LA was the first time, so that was pretty cool, man. Hearing all those people and letting loose a little bit, letting my hair down. Yeah, it was exciting. So yeah, big goal. That'll be pretty cool. Yeah.
You're only getting started. Now let's get into the topics from the podcast. Now I want to jump directly into the one that perplexed me the most. Okay, you had a bit where you mentioned when men were men. I love it. When men were men. I fucking love it. Oh man. But you mentioned how you wanted to get revenge against John Cena at WrestleMania 23 for defeating Shawn Michaels in a main event that, by the way, a little inside baseball here, if anybody didn't know this, that was not supposed to be the main event. The main event was supposed to be Triple H and John Cena, but Triple H got hurt a few months prior and Shawn Michaels stepped in. So tell me a little bit about what brought that into your comedy routine that perplexed me. It's part of the reason why I want to set up this call with you.
Well, yeah, that didn't really, that's such inside baseball, you know. I just throw a lot of things out that are just in my head on the day. I don't even know if I was even planning on talking about that, but I had watched some WrestleMania highlights the night before, I think. So it was just in the back of my head about the John Cena thing. Yeah, that was funny. I would love to have. Yeah, I said it and I was like, why did I? Like, nobody knows what I'm talking about. But I'm happy it landed with the right people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It landed with Tony, of course, because he's a diehard wrestling fan. It landed with me. But is there anything there? Are you a Shawn Michaels fan?
yeah, I mean, more so than John Cena, certainly. Yeah. Hell yeah. Who doesn't love vintage Shawn Michaels? Even when he went more Christian, I used to wear that shirt to school when I was a kid because it had a cross on it. And the HBK thing, you know what I'm talking about? It had that cross. Yeah, he's always been cool. He's such a man. His promos are so great, and even towards the end of his run, I mean, he wrestled forever. That WrestleMania, that was a great match. He was wonderful. Still limber to get that leg up. You ever try to kick like that? That's almost impossible to get that leg up like that.
I've done a little bit of backyard wrestling over the past couple of years, and that's my only move. Is that, and that's the only thing that I really practice. Yeah, that's it. Because I was mostly the referee, and I was mostly doing. But the super kick was the only one I knew I could nail because you could pull it. You don't have to like drive it right through somebody's face. But it's not easy getting your foot up there. I've drilled it about 500 times probably.
I would imagine. Yeah, he's so flexible. Yeah, man, dude. Wait, so it was supposed to be Triple H, and he got hurt.
So let's take a little time machine trip here. So there was a match, I believe, at New Year's Revolution 2006. Shawn is DX right now, right? DX is in their run. It's the second run of DX, Shawn and Triple H. They're in a tag team feud against Rated RKO, Edge and Randy Orton.
Yeah,
okay? These four guys are going all over the country, kicking the crap out of each other. Triple H does a spine buster in the middle of the ring it was either Orton or Edge. I think it was Edge. And as soon as his knees hit the ground, he tears his quad. Done. So he's out now for months. Yeah. Shawn Michaels has to step in. It was supposed to be a rematch from WrestleMania 22, was Triple H and John Cena.
Yeah, I think I've seen that clip of him tearing his quads. Famously large quads too. That'd be a horrific injury. Poor Sap.
Yeah, totally. Now let's talk about. Let's pivot. Let's pivot real quick because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got a long night tonight.
Good, man.
Let's pivot. The plane ride from hell, right? This is one of the most infamous wrestling stories of all time. And you happen to mention this again in passing, just riffing, probably wherever it came from. Something that's a deep cut. The audience probably like, what's this dude talking about? You mentioned Brock Lesnar, the brawl, him and Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig had a wrestling match on that plane ride, I believe it was. Tell me a little bit about what you know about that. Did you see the Dark Side of the Ring episode? Are you familiar with all the inside baseball on this one? Because if you're not, I'd love to tell you some of it.
Yeah. So I watched that Dark Side of the Ring, and I love that line from this is unrelated, but it's still in that Dark Side of the Ring with Scott Hall. And they had to take him off the plane in the wheelchair because he was so fucked up, and he was just kept defending himself. He was like, I've been taking pills and drinking for years. Something was wrong. Like he like didn't deny that he was fucked up and also on pills, but he was just like, nah, this wasn't right. Somebody spoiled me. Somebody drugged him or whatever.
Yeah, when who drugged him?
I do remember saying something about the plane ride from hell, and that landed much worse than the Shawn Michaels thing. Couldn't be a more obscure reference.
But I catch them, dude. I catch them when anyone throws them out. I'm right there. And yours are better than anybody else who drops them on the show, by the way. And do you know who drugged Scott Hall? Do you know who did it? Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, allegedly.
Oh, yeah. So he was, God, he had his fingers in so many pies that day. What a bastard.
Mr. Perfect was the ultimate rib guy. That guy would rib everyone. And this was one of his most dastardly ribs. And, I think he was only with us shortly thereafter. I think he passed away that same year, maybe the next year after that.
Yeah.
So that was one of his.
He got released from that, right? After that fight. Yeah.
Another famous moment on that plane was Sean Waltman cutting off Michael PSA's ponytail. You know that one? That to me, like epic. Ric Flair with the robe, Gold Dust singing to Marlena. It's freaking hit after hit on that plane ride. So a deep cut.
Oh yeah,
right there, man.
Oh, what a field day. Have you ever seen X-Pac's sex tape? Doesn't he have a sex tape?
Oh, bro, yes. And because I consider myself a journalist, it gives me like the well, I don't really consider myself a journalist anymore, but I can still use that as kind of a shield to say, yes, I have watched that. And holy shit, bro, that's not something I'll ever watch again. Have you seen it?
Oh, maybe when I was younger. That's a young man's game. I don't know if I think I have. I'm sure when I was younger, I looked it up, but I can't remember. I think he had a pretty big hog, but I don't know. He pretty much broke China into the porn game. That's what happened there for the most part, I would think. Like that was her introduction. She was like, how many people watched this video? And this was a young boy. I think this video is from like 2005, probably. Mm-hmm. This is a long time ago. So yeah. Oh, it's just gross. Now she would have been great on OnlyFans. China would have had a wonderful OnlyFans.
She'd have all the subscribers. She'd have pictures. Now, all right. So last one I want to talk about with you because I'm just curious.
Yes.
The Benoit tragedy. You said he was framed. You said it on KILLTONY. I don't even know if you remember saying. Do you remember saying this? This was a few weeks ago.
I know. I get up there. I'm just riffing. I've been trying to do a bit about it because so I read an article. Well, okay. So I'm scrolling through Facebook and watching reels or something, and a Facebook group popped up and it said Chris Benoit was framed, and it had like 23,000 members or something. And so I'd never heard that take. This is probably a month ago. And so I Google it, and there's this whole thread online, people saying that, he was too nice to have done it and stuff. And they came up with alternate theories, and somebody commented, and they're being earnest because it was several paragraphs, and they said, I've looked this up over the years. I've done a lot of reading, and I think The Undertaker did it. And I was like, what do you think? So people are commenting that the wrestling feuds like turned violent. Like people think it was, oh God, what's that guy who's the Satanist? He would do the Satanist thing.
Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? The Undertaker killed him with a steel chair? What do you think happened? That's insane. That's an insane theory. What do they fall off a Hell in a Cell? That's so funny. Awful. What do you think about it?
All right. So again, I'm going to fall back in journalism here. I have deep dive on this thing a few times over the years. I've read the books. I've read 2 books on this. Okay. And I've also looked at all of the case files. I've read the police reports, and from what I've read and I've heard that theory too about the Undertaker, and this is the reason behind it. There is something there. Okay. There's a tidbit there that's not involving a steel chair or Hell in a Cell. Right. So there's a lot of text messages in the case files from Chris Benoit's cell phone. And he seemed to have an interest in a women's wrestler named Michelle McCool. Now, this is Mrs. Undertaker now, okay? So there was also, around this time period, a lot of rumors that Chris Benoit was having an affair on the road, something that was sowing, like, disdain in the relationship at home with Nancy. When you look at the text messages, and I've looked at both of their phones' text messages that were released in the case files that anybody can access. I have them all. If you want them, I'll give them to you, Casey. I'll give them to anybody who wants to look through them.
Send me the
all
files.
The texts are in there. I will send you the files. Okay. I will send them to you. It's going to be a big file. Maybe I'll send them in a few emails. We'll figure it out. Anyway, you look through them, and you will see, a guy named Mark sends Chris Benoit a text message the day after the news breaks out that he has perished, right? So to put it bluntly, there's also that tidbit from the video game where the Undertaker is saying that like his family will not know what his demise is. I don't know if you ever saw the clip from the video game with Undertaker
This isn't
and
like
Chris Benoit face
SmackDown,
to
the
face.
video game, or
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
It's like how
So-
the Simpsons predicted 9/11. That's crazy.
And there's like, you know, to tie in, I won't go too much into the weeds here. We'll talk about this maybe another time. And I'm going to talk about this extensively because I want people to know what I think and what's out there. Like, I think probably it was a double murder suicide. But another thing is that, you know, Kevin Sullivan's involvement, right? Storyline in WCW in 1996 that led to Chris Benoit and Nancy Benoit becoming an item. Nancy Sullivan at the time. This was Kevin Sullivan's wife, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't remember that. That's crazy.
So,
okay, well now it doesn't it doesn't sound as ridiculous as when you read it and you're like, oh yeah, the Undertaker killed him. That sounds so insane. That's so cartoonish to imagine that a bunch of wrestlers showed up and then suicided him. But I guess it has legs. That is more compelling than I originally thought.
Here's another tidbit from the autopsy that I'll leave you with here.
Yes.
So on the autopsy, everybody, well, I'm sorry, not everybody. Daniel did not have this, but Nancy and Chris both had remnants of tape around their ankles, meaning that, you know, potentially they were both taped around the ankles. The way Chris Benoit reportedly killed himself is very, very difficult to do. Extremely difficult to do. You have to have superhuman strength. He had superhuman strength. He was a small little guy. He probably had the strength to do it. Don't get me wrong. But just so you know, that's extremely difficult. And he definitely suffered for a long time before he actually died. Like, this isn't a situation where he's going to get strangled very quickly. This is a situation where he's going to get strangled slowly over the course of minutes, maybe dozens of minutes.
Oh, with how he set it up with that machine.
Yeah, and the way he wrapped a big towel around his neck and tied the thing around the towel. So that leads me to believe, like, so I try to look at it from his perspective, right? Maybe like you would try to bail on it if you put it on your bare neck, right? If you're really trying to kill yourself, maybe you'll bail on the operation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you put it on your skin, you're like, fuck, it hurts.
Procedure.
Right? Yeah. I don't know, dude. But there's something to look into, and I definitely will send you those case files. But
heavy stuff. Yeah, send those over. I'll have my team look over, and we'll get back to you. I'll bring a couple buddies over.
Yeah, and I know you have the connection with the law offices of Tarlow and Tarlow, and I want you to, you know, maybe forward them to them as well. Take a look. You know, you're working there full time, from what I heard.
Yeah, I'll make a couple phone calls. I'll get Mr. Tarlow on it. Yeah, he's actually in Cancun this weekend, but he'll come back and he'll gloss over it for me. Tarlow is my numbers guy. Barlow is the one he's the words guy. So I have a words guy and a numbers guy. So it makes it easier for me. I wanted to read you a couple of these men were men that I didn't say. Can I say them? Really
Yes. Okay. Hell yeah, let's do it.
I don't know if they're any good. I'm talking about when men were men. Come on. I'm talking about when men were men. I'm talking about pulling a gun at a Michaels craft store and demanding an apology from Michael. I'm talking about when men were men. I'm talking about going on the Amazing Race just so you can sneak into North Korea. I'm talking about getting sleep paralysis behind the wheel of a vehicle and getting pulled over by the Hat Man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about playing Russian roulette to figure out whose turn it is to do the dishes. It's, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about when, I'm on here about having an invisible dad. That doesn't make any sense. I'm talking about shitting in a public pool and blaming it on CBS for taking off young Sheldon. I'm talking about when men were men. I'm talking about eating nothing but Chef Boyardee, not because you're poor. You just like collecting all the meatballs.
Holy shit, dude.
That one's kind of funny.
Oh, that was, dude, they were all good. They were all funny, bro. Oh, that was fantastic. Casey, thank you so much for joining me on this new little bit I'm going to do, hopefully every week, where I have somebody from outside the wrestling industry come in and talk to me about it for a few minutes. And I'd love to have you back on in the future if you got some time. Maybe we'll dive deeper into these Chris Benoit files or something. Have a hell of a good time, you know?
Sure. Yeah, man. Oh, I love talking about wrestling. Yeah, this is cool. And I've seen your channel. I didn't realize that. I've watched your videos before.
No shit. Oh, thanks so much, dude. I appreciate that. Now, before you go, bro, give us like a plug, shout out. What's going on with you, dude?
I'm on tour. So starting next week, I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin. Then I'm going to 35 other cities. So you can get tickets at CaseyRocketComedy.com. I'm going on tour next week.
Boom. KCRocketComedy.com. I will be at your show in August here in Jersey at in New Brunswick. I'll be there. I'm gonna get tickets. It's a Wednesday night. So I'm gonna skip AEW Dynamite. I'm skipping Dynamite. Do you watch AEW?
Yeah, I do sometimes. I won't say his name, but I was talking to one of the wrestlers, and I think I'll go. They said they might be able to get me backstage in Buffalo in a couple weeks, so I'm excited.
Sick.
Go meet some of those guys. So cool getting to do all this stuff, all these things he grew up loving. So yeah, it's exciting.
Definitely. Hell yeah, bro. We'll keep in touch, and I'll definitely see you in August. And best of luck with everything. And check out Kill Tony each and every Monday night. I watch it after Raw because most of the time I leave Raw depressed. So I gotta laugh, I gotta smile, I gotta watch Casey on Kill Tony.
Hell yeah! Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, brother. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, there goes Casey Rocket, guys. I hope you enjoyed that short interview with Casey Rocket. That guy's great. Big fan, hilarious. I urge you to check out his stand-up comedy. I urge you to dive into some of the topics that we talked about. I mean, of course, I can go on and on about Chris Benoit. I'm not going to do that today. We're not going to go on and on and on, but I will in the future. I'll talk more about it. I'll dive deep into the case files if you guys want it. If you don't want to hear about it, every time I seem to bring it up on X, something about Chris Benoit, a lot of people are like, just let that family rest. Just let them rest, and I get that. I understand. But there's a lot of weird stuff that went on, and I'm going to send Casey Rocket the case files. I'm going to let him know about the sequence of events. I didn't go too deep into it today. And he's seen my channel before, which is fantastic. So appreciate Casey Rocket. Thank you. I'm going to help you, dig into hopefully a different niche here in the wrestling sphere. Because let's face it, guys, we need, Marie, here we go. Marie Shadows thinks he was framed. Okay. A lot of people think that. And like the Undertaker thing, he mentioned the crazy theory about the Undertaker doing it. And I don't buy into that theory even a bit. But like in professional wrestling, is there a greater sin in even the world, right? And even like just being a man, is there a greater sin than laying down with another man's wife? I mean, the problem, maybe there is, right? I guess it depends on how you interpret it, but it's a pretty big sin, pretty big sin. And apparently they were separated at the time for a number of weeks. Kevin Sullivan and Nancy Benoit were at the time, Nancy Sullivan. And yeah, I don't know if that's, if it's something where there's some kind of club or secret society going on there, man. I've always long thought there was some kind of like wrestling secret society behind the scenes, man. But I think we'd have heard about it by now. You can talk about the Freemasons, which involves some people from wrestling. I'm sure of it. I know Vince McMahon is a Freemason for sure. Definitely. Maybe not, but I think he is. Man, that was fun talking to Casey Rocket. When men were men, those were some funny bits, man. I had fun doing that. That was great. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm going to stick around for a while, for a little bit here. I hope you guys don't mind. I want to go through my Twitter feed. This is something that comedian that I like does, Sam Tripoli. He does something called doom scrolling, where he scrolls his Twitter and other social medias and just like jumps into some topics. And I've done this before with wrestling topics before. I just scroll Twitter. You'd jump into the trending stuff. So I'm going to do that now. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on tonight on Monday Night Raw with Ricochet. So let's share that screen. And here we go. So Ricochet looks like it will be his Raw farewell tonight. I don't know how you feel about that, guys. To me, it's mixed emotions for me because I feel like they could have done so much more with Ricochet in the WWE. I think the Vince McMahon years, jumping to the main roster when he did, it didn't do him a lot of great benefit. At a certain point, when Paul Heyman was in control of Raw, it looked like they had something for him to do. It looked like they were going to give him a fruitful run with a mid-card title. He got a big win. I think he beat Samoa Joe for the U.S. title, if I'm not mistaken. And it didn't really go anywhere, unfortunately. So Ricochet has kind of toiled around in the mid card. They've tried to push him with Lesnar at one point. Lesnar squashed him, as we knew would happen. But yeah, I think this is obviously the end of Ricochet. And he'll be coming up soon. Here's sources. Justin Wang. I don't know Justin, but he's got 318K followers. So reputable, I would say. My sources WWE told me that tonight on Raw, they're going to shoot Ricochet with a gun and he dies. Okay. That's okay. That's funny. Okay, I'll give it up. Here's more on the topic. Well, I guess this is just topic about what's going on. PW Insider is reporting that Chad Gable is extremely close or has come to terms with WWE, won't continue or on with the company. Great. Russell Features is pumped about that. I think we could all be pumped about that, right? I think we can all be pumped about Chad Gable staying with WWE. The guy has been invaluable over the past couple of years, building up his character, being goofy, being funny, doing the comedy bit, and then turning serious. That's the only way funny equals money, is when that funny turns into somebody serious. And that's what I was hoping WWE would do with Matt Riddle in the future. Maybe if he ever comes back to the company, they can do something serious with him. Because funny only leads to money when it turns into something serious. That's it. In wrestling, right? When men were men. Casey Rocket killing me, man. That was funny. I'm happy Chad Gable's staying. Maybe he'll get the belt. Maybe they'll give him the strap since he decided to stay. Here's another account that gets a ton of play on social media. Gable is closer, blah, blah, blah. Same news story. Here's Ricochet mind-blowing moments thread. I mean, these can go on forever. But look at the height he's got there. So it must be money in the bank, yeah. Okay, how are they going to finish up with Ricochet tonight? Probably have a run-in against Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker just destroys him, I'm guessing. What do we got here? Related stories. New horizons for Ricochet. Fans yearn for WWE's Tribal Chiefs reign. Okay, yeah, we're chanting for Roman. I knew this would happen, guys. I knew it. I had a feeling that Roman Reigns would actually turn babyface while he was the champion, until they kind of didn't have a choice but to put it on Cody Rhodes. But I thought he'd be a heel champion into a babyface champion. I thought that was possible. I thought the reign would go on for that long, that maybe the storyline they're doing now would have been a part of his championship run. But it's kind of cool that it doesn't have the belt, doesn't really need it. And yeah, we're pumped to see the head of the table return. He is needed, that's for sure. And like, what the heck? Like, I love the little image they used here, CM Punk getting railed by Corporate Kane from forever ago. I don't know where that comes from. Clash at the Castle. Yeah, of course. Punk will play a role. You know that the fans want to see Punk. They're not going to have him not go to the pay-per-view. They're going to start building up SummerSlam or Money in the Bank or whatever's next. They're going to start building it up, and they're going to use Clash at the Castle to do that. So yes, I see Punk. He's going to be at Clash of the Castle, I think, in some way, shape, or form. I don't see Damian Priest losing this match. Again, Punk, the same way Roman Reigns doesn't need the belt right now, Damian Priest needs it. McIntyre and Punk do not. Damian Priest needs that belt. It's the only thing that's keeping Judgment Day strong. It's the only thing that's keeping them together. It would have been cool if Rhea Ripley was still around. She had her belt too. That would have been dope. I think that was the plan. So they both had the belts, right? But at this point, Damian Priest needs it. So I think Priest wins. I also think that Priest, we might see him freaking defend that belt against Bad Bunny, man, in some kind of rematch. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. Let's go back to Marie Shadows. When I heard Ricochet was going to leave, I thought it wasn't real. We'll see. I think he's going to leave. I do. I don't put anything into if he wants to be on the road with his wife, fiance wife, Samantha Irvin. I get that there's some benefit to that, of course. Especially if you want to start a family, there is a family, all that good stuff, right? There's benefit to that. But this is his career, and your career goes by in a flash in professional wrestling. He's not going to be able to do all these crazy stunts and these crazy moves forever. So I think this is going to be a situation where he goes out on his own, goes back to where he came from. He's going to go to New Japan, throw the mask back on potentially, maybe wrestles Ricochet. Who knows what he's going to do? But he'll do New Japan. He'll do the AEW route, man. That's what he'll do. He'll wrestle wherever he wants to wrestle. That's what he'll do. Yeah, that's true. It was super sudden, but this is a kind of a situation where even if his contract was up, but I know it's got to be around this time period that his contract is up because I remember it back in 2019. WWE was scrambling to re-sign all these guys for 5 years. All the dudes they wanted to keep and women they wanted to keep, they were re-signing them for 5-year extensions back in 2019. And part of that reason was because AEW was starting to gain some traction. They were starting to make some waves at the time before the content of the show started to fall off, right? And when the content of the show falls off, that's when the viewership falls down as well. So WWE did the right thing. They signed the people they wanted to keep, and they wanted to build the company around the mid-card. Gable, Ricochet, these guys were the freaking benchmark of the mid-card for that entire 5-year run. Think of it. You know, go back in your mind and think of how many wrestling matches these guys have had. Hikuleo is going to be WWE bound. Another Bloodline edition, it looks like. Another member of the Bloodline, Hikuleo, reported here by Body Slam. I believe they mean bodyslam.net here. Wrestle Features, which is just like one of those accounts that's been doing this for a long time. Wrestle Features in the house, reporting the news. Here's more on Gable. Cool little graphic here. Drainmaker, another somebody that gets a lot of freaking popularity on Twitter, man. It gets pushed like crazy. I know I got just got a warning from Twitter, big warning, because I talk trash on their executives, and I think that their executives are a little whack sometimes. I do apologize for going so hard in the paint on Linda Yacareno, but give me a break, dude. Give me a break. Fightful Select, AEW talent and staff this past week. We're talking about the possibility of Ricochet joining AEW. This is the type of news that, I mean, you could just make up at any point in time. If they're not talking about the possibility of signing Ricochet, they are not in the wrestling business. So this is just, somebody paid money to see this post. This is the most common sense shit I've ever heard. Like, I don't even have to read this to know this happened. This is common sense. I'm going to put this behind a paywall. The next time some common sense comes in my head about the wrestling business, I'll put it behind a paywall. No, I'm not going to do that. Ricochet could be written off TV as soon as this week. Write him off, baby. This is just the same story over and over again. AEW is perfect. Oh, here's this guy. This dude, isn't this guy like the scourge of the IWC? Like, what is going on with this dude? WWE's #1 hater. Knicks fan. Oh my, what is wrong with this guy? AEW is perfect for a guy like Ricochet. I'm excited to see how he does. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair tweet. That's a fair tweet. Not scheduled any future dates. Maybe he's got to heal up. JD, my boy JD. Ricochet headed AEW. Likely. Very likely. Gable staying. That's all the news. There's no other wrestling news. Oh, wait. I'm on the story. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what other news we got here in my For You. You're going to get an exclusive look into. I remember what she did to me. You know. I remember it. I remember it well. If you're going to blast somebody, you're going to get it back. You're going to get it back at you. Happy birthday to Deonna Purrazzo, turning 30. Damn, Deonna Purrazzo looking good. 30 years old, Deonna Purrazzo looking beautiful as always. New Jersey's own Deonna Purrazzo. Here's an absolute gem, Chelsea Green. You can see this is my For You, right? This is my For You. You're going to get some stuff that I like. Deonna Purrazzo, Chelsea Green. You know, Joe Biden's approval rating just at an all-time low. You know, you're going to get some stuff that I like. Record inflation, high crime, the invasion at the southern border, Trump 2024. I agree with all of it. I agree with all of it. This guy sucks. All right? This guy sucks. Unbelievable. Oh, by the way, let's see what my notifications are like. I'll share my notifications. I don't care. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Make this go viral. Okay. This was funny. From Natalia Class, otherwise known as Selena De La Renta, one of my favorites in the industry. Somebody who, shockingly, I think if she wanted to be in the WWE, she could be in the WWE. This woman has charisma. Has charisma coming from every single bone in her body. She has put in the time, the effort. She's paid her dues. And she says, if you are coming to a pro wrestling convention to take photos with your favorite artists, the least you can do is shower. I cannot agree more, men. When you go to wrestling shows, shower every single day. Wash your ass, guys. Wash your butt. Okay. Get dude wipes if you have to. Get a freaking loofah. Get a loofah that's only for your butt. Get one loofah for the rest of your body. Get one loofah for your ass. And wash it, bro. Because I've been to so many wrestling shows. I didn't even want to go to WrestleMania and sit in the crowd this year because of that. I didn't want to go to the bathroom with y'all. I didn't want to like sit in the bleachers with you guys. But of course, and I'm going to tell this story right now. But I'm not going to put on blast the guy's name because I'm not mean like that. But I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. And let's actually go to my Twitter here. We're going to go to my Twitter. And we are going to go to the search bar. We're going to go we're going to go at PWP Nation WrestleMania. And we are going to look at some of my photos that I took from WrestleMania. Hopefully, if I have them here. You might not be able to find them. I wonder why. Anyway, let me tell this quick story about going to WrestleMania. So I'm sitting in, here we go. Here's where I was sitting, essentially. Luxury box at WrestleMania, guys. This is what I did at WrestleMania. Luxury box because I didn't want to sit with y'all. And I'm going to tell this story right now because it's my show and this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to tell the story about what happened at WrestleMania. I had a freaking blast at this event, man. I had so much fun. Splurged on the luxury box. Well worth it. Here was the only problem I had with it. In the luxury box, it was split between a lot of different people who didn't know each other. So when I showed up, we were the first one, right? One of WrestleMania. Me and my buddy, first one's in the box. Our waitress comes in, or our sweet host, whatever you want to call her, sweet host, I believe is her name, our host. She comes in, she tells us, pick your seats now. Pick your seats, put your stuff in your seats, make sure nobody takes your seats, assign your own seats. So we are great. Okay. Sounds like a plan. So we put our stuff on our seats. We leave. Of course, everybody wants to walk the stadium at WrestleMania. Look at this, right? This is incredible. Everybody wants to walk around the stadium. So we walked around the stadium. We went outside. We went to the concourse, did all the fun stuff night one. Thinking, okay, we know what we're doing. We got this thing under control. Boom. We end up going back once WrestleMania starts. We go back to the box. And big problem with it was our seats got moved to the second row. We were in the front row. We got moved to the second row. Some people just moved our stuff. I'm like, yo, you moved our stuff, right? This is effed up. Okay, compromise, fine. You want to sit in the front? Sure, no problem. We'll sit in the second row. No big deal. No harm, no foul. Fine. So we conceded. Me and my buddy were like, all right, we'll sit in the second row. Bam, done. Right? We leave again. We go get some food or something. You don't want to sit in that box when the show's not going on, right? You want to go out and explore. You want to have a good time. You want to, you got this whole section to yourself when you're in the luxury box that the rest of the fans can't get to. So you want to hang out there. You want to do your thing. You want to get your merch, whatever. So, of course, we leave. We come back. They bump us all the way out of the seats to the fucking couch. They bump us all the way out of the seat to the couch. I say, fuck this. Now, the great thing was there were these two big dudes that showed up that took the second row, right? They're the ones that bumped us to the back. And these dudes, we explained to them what was going on. We explained to the people in the front row what was going on, who took our original seats. I explained it, I should say. I took control of this thing. I talked to the guy that was running the box. Great guy. Real nice guy. I hope to work with him again. And freaking, we got our situation straightened out. We got back to the front row. Okay? We all decided at that moment that those were going to be our seats for night 2 as well. Okay? That's what we decided. Night 2 as well. We come back night 2. We figure we can show up whenever because we already decided that our seats are what they are. We figure, yeah, we're good to go. We don't have to worry about reserving our seats. Sure enough, we did. Because we get back there for night 2 after going around the concourse having fun. I was having a blast, dude. I was all hyped up, ready to rock and roll. I was just killing it. We get back and someone's in our seats. Someone's in everybody else's. All of our seats are filled. So now none of us who had the assigned seats the day before want to sit down. None of us want to sit down. We're just like, fuck. We don't want to watch this. We can't even see the ring from the couch. If you're all the way in the back in the luxury box, you can't see shit at a wrestling show. If you're in the front, you got a pretty good view from a luxury box. You're okay. You know, it's no different than sitting in the bleachers when you're in the front, except you don't have to sit next to fucking Trevor that didn't wash his ass, or fucking Jimmy who won't stop talking to you about how much he loves Becky Lynch. And these are experiences that have happened to me at wrestling shows before. Somehow, whenever I get stuck next to somebody at a wrestling show, they don't stop talking to me. I'm not telling you to not talk to me. I'm telling you to stop at some point, okay? Sure enough, this is all going to get tied together about the washing your ass thing. Sure enough, night 2 of WrestleMania, this one kid is there. Nice guy. Can't remember his name. I'm sorry. Nice guy. I won't even say his name if I knew who it was. He does some content online. All he wanted to do was take photos of the fucking Titantron in the side, right? That's all he wanted to do. So the way this is laid out is my buddy and I, we got 2 seats. We're sitting next to each other. There's a little aisle, and then there's like 3 or 4 seats on the other side. So this dude was sitting in the aisle next to me. But the problem was when I'm sitting down, every time he got up, his smelly fucking ass was right in my face, and he didn't clean his ass. And it stank. But I'm not going to say his name. But if you were in that luxury box and you're watching this, or if you're the guy, you might know what it is. Dude, your ass stank like crazy, and I didn't have the heart to tell you. But I did say it in one of my videos I made that I took at WrestleMania. I did make, you know, that's the payoff of this whole. I couldn't deal with it. This guy's ass stank, dude. Every single time he stood. Every single time this dude stood up, his ass was in my face. And I had to turn my head to the other side. Here's my my video of Damian Priest's cash-in that I thought was really, really sick. Oh, the reaction was nuts. Look at that shit. I was going crazy. I was going absolutely banana. I was losing my mind. Because I've never seen a cash-in live, right? That was the first cash-in I've seen live, I think. I'm pretty sure that was the first one I've seen live. Definitely was. But I've been to Money in the Bank before. And that was not one of the ones where somebody cashed in. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that story while I was on the make sure you clean your ass, guys. Make sure you clean your ass. You know? Ladies too, but I'll be honest, I never had a problem with ladies that stink at wrestling events. When I sit next to a lady at a wrestling event, I got no problem. I never have an issue. When I sit next to guys, they stink. All right. Here's my For You page, of course, the great Namakuzi, Vince Russo. Okay, let's see what's okay. WCW. You guys want to talk about WCW? What do you guys want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about? We got a few hours until Monday Night Raw. Wow, it's not even 5 o'clock yet. And this Joe Rogan Killcliff limited edition is kicking in. And I'm eating pizza tonight. I'm eating a lot of pizza. Yo, and by the way, I am really pumped up about this documentary, Who Killed WCW. I watched the first episode last week, and I thought it was a great way to kind of set the tone of the show. I really did. And I love how it's bringing back all of these guys to talk about this again. I freaking love it. This kind of stuff is what I love about the professional wrestling business. This is why it's a damn shame that AEW couldn't have been what I thought it was going to be. It just wasn't possible. And the reason, and I'll get into this another time maybe, but since I'm talking about it, I thought AEW was truly going to be like a wrestling utopia in the way where like a lot of these guys, a lot of these minds from the past and wrestlers from the past with like the real wrestlers from nowadays would be able to combine their talents. And we've seen a lot of that. I think we've seen that with Jake the Snake Roberts and Lance Archer on kind of a smaller level. But I really wanted to see, you know, some of the creative minds get together and see like bookers come in and out. I always thought we were going to have like a who's who of bookers in this fucking company. I didn't know Tony Khan was going to be running the thing the whole time. In the beginning, they made it sound like Jim Ross was going to be running it and Chris Jericho was going to be running it. And, you know, Cody Rhodes and even the Young Bucks, even Kenny. We didn't know. We were like, oh, wrestlers and all these legends are probably going to get involved. This is going to be like a badass wrestling company, but it's one guy. But let's talk about this Vince Russo quote, because I always thought Vince Russo would have been a good fit to at least do a little bit of something for AEW, like one storyline, maybe like get him in as a consultant to like craft one angle or something. Like, I don't understand why some of these creative minds are on the sidelines. Why can't you give them just one angle? Say, hey, do an angle. That's what I would do. But here, Ric Flair. Okay. So let's go back here and see what Ric Flair said. And then we'll read what Vince Russo said. You probably already read it. Okay, and Ric Flair did respond. So let's start out here. Ric Flair, I've tried to lay low on this, but let's face it. Who killed WCW? Now, I want to stop here for a moment since we're going to talk about this. And I would like to say that it is a travesty that Ric Flair is not in this documentary. I think it's an absolute sham if he's not in it. I don't know why he's not in it. Maybe it's because Dark Side of the Ring, what they did to him last time they talked about him. A bona fide hit job, right? A freaking hit job. And by the way, I'm going to just real quick. I'm going to just message Casey Rocket a big thank you, brother, because that was phenomenal. So gave a big thank you to Casey Rocket. Appreciate that once again. So Ric Flair should have been in this documentary. Bottom line, I don't care if he's mad at you, you're mad at him. There's no way he shouldn't have been in this documentary. He needed to be. He needed to be. And hopefully he's on season 2 if there's a season 2. I've tried to lay low on this, but let's face it. Who killed WCW? It's a 3-headed monster. Jim Herd, Eric Bischoff, and Vince Russo. There's no individual wrestler or faction that caused anything to kill WCW. I agree with that. It was the people in charge that created dysfunction, animosity, and tried to divide and conquer by lying to everyone and involving themselves in the promotion, which was the ultimate failure. God, I could give you 1,000 more examples. I am one to live through all 3 nightmares and to be saved by the WWE. And now to be saved again by AEW. Thank you to the WWE for bringing someone who has dead in the water as a result of these 3 people back to life. Who was dead in the water. Okay. Thank you. Let me read that again because I said it wrong. Thank you to the WWE for bringing someone who was dead in the water as a result of these 3 people back to life. And here are the 3 people that he mentioned. Of course, Jim Herd. We all know. If you don't know Jim Herd, you're not familiar with Jim Herd. Jim Herd is the guy that wanted Ric Flair to be Spartacus. He wanted him to cut off all his hair and be a freaking gladiator named Spartacus. Jim Herd also was the mind behind the Ding Dongs tag team and a lot of the really stupid, ridiculous WCW stuff in the early 90s that led to Ric Flair leaving the company and heading to the WWF for I really liked his run in the WWF in the early 90s. I know it's not critically acclaimed by any major stretch, but if that Ric Flair, Randy Savage feud never happened when I was a kid, dude, I might have never even been a Ric Flair fan because that feud is what made me a Ric Flair fan. I had seen his stuff before that. I remember when I was a kid, I would watch Ric Flair and Sting matches. I would watch Ric Flair. There was a Ric Flair Scott Steiner match from a Clash of the Champions I really loved. But, you know, Ric Flair going to WWF was the reason I became a fan so early in life and the reason probably I love him now. Vince Russo. Let's talk about Vince Russo and we'll get his rebuttal in a second. Vince Russo put Ric Flair through the ringer, but, you know, knowing Vince Russo and watching every episode of that era, I literally watched every episode of that era. When I was a kid, I was diehard. You guys don't understand. I was like, maybe you understand. If anyone understands, the people who are watching me right now do understand how diehard I was of a wrestling fan when I was a kid. In the late 90s and the early 2000s, I was hooked. I was 14, 15, 16 years old. You know, it was my life. I loved it. And Vince Russo was a big part of it because I had learned early on that he was responsible for a lot of the major storylines that I loved in the World Wrestling Federation. So, of course, when he goes to WCW, I'm excited. I think he had bigger plans for the Millionaires Club, for Ric Flair, for all the legends. But it just wasn't going to happen. Was never going to happen. It was oil and water. It was just a situation that was not going to work no matter what happened. You can hear Vince Russo talk about it extensively throughout the years. He's got so much content on his time in WCW, but holy crap, it was honestly oil and water. Would have never worked. Eric Bischoff was the one guy who could have saved this company. And he could have saved it if he would have been able to retain the media rights with Time Warner AOL, Turner Broadcasting. Eric Bischoff could have had a chance of saving this freaking company. All right. A lot of people might not believe it, But this guy, Eric freaking Bischoff, and Fuchsia Media, if they would have bought WCW for a much higher price than it ended up being sold to Vince McMahon for, and even without the TV, man, even if, like, say Eric Bischoff, I know to him at the time it was worth $20 without the TV deal, right? But in hindsight, he probably should have done the deal, right? He probably should have done it. I know there was no deal without TV. I get it. I get there was no deal without TV. But man, you think he wishes he would have done that deal now? Because Vince got WCW at the greatest value bargain in wrestling history, in my opinion. You know, Tony Khan is paying more money for playing music, licensed music, than Vince McMahon bought WCW for. It's crazy. Chris Jericho has gotten a record saying that he would have bought it if he knew how much it would have sold for. All right, so that's Ric Flair. Let's go to Vince Russo's response. Vince Russo. Let's see what Vince Russo had to say to Rick. Of course, they go back and forth. Okay, Vince Russo responds to Ric Flair. Whatever candy I'm eating, at least I can afford to eat, which I'm not sure you can. Bro, I never thought I'd be saying this to the GOAT, but you need to work on those comebacks. Wait a second. Did I miss something? Okay. All right. Here we go. This is Vince Russo's original comeback. Looks like Ric Flair is hitting that rum candy again. Thanks for giving me the much credit for a writer to take down a multi-million-dollar company through words on a page. I guess I really was special. Not my fault you weren't in the dock, Rick. Sorry, man. I hope you don't think my excessive use of your son David, and the rest of your family for that matter, who were all great, by the way, wasn't the knife that drew the company's last blood. Yeah, I failed at laying low too. I mean, I can't deny any of this is accurate from Vince Russo. Everything he said here was pretty spot on when it comes to what I remember from WCW. I do think it's hilarious that Ric Flair has a phone number in his bio. What that phone number goes to, I have no idea. Should we call it? The hell does that phone number go to? The hell does that phone number go to? Ric Flair's fucking energy drink company? What's that phone number go to? Ric Flair's weed company? Am I going to call that number and buy some Ric Flair weed? What's going on here? All right, let's go back here. That was Vinny Rue's response there. Let's go back to the Nature Boy. Wow. Glad you got, here's Ric Flair. Wow, glad you got back to me, Vince Russo. Whatever candy I'm eating, at least I can afford to eat, which I'm not sure you can. I would give you $20K, Eric Bischoff $20K, and Jim Herd $20K a piece, wired in advance to show up in Tampa or Atlanta. I'll rent the venue in Tampa or Atlanta. It will sell out for sure. We can hash this out. And I guarantee that I can probably sell this to a pay-per-view status because I'm Ric Flair and you're not. Story of my life. Woo! The Nature Boy. The limousine riding. Jeff Fine. The limousine riding. Son of a gun. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Dude, unbelievable. Ric Flair challenging. The Nature Boy challenging. I guess he wants to fight these guys. Check out this mint condition green trunked Flair I got. Pretty mint condition. I think it's got maybe one little ding on it or two. Look at this thing. Dude, Nature Boy, brother. What are we doing? You want to sell a pay-per-view? What are you guys going to do to each other in 20K? Dude, I don't know if Jim Herd, I don't know what he's up to. Let me try calling Rick's number. Let's see what Rick says. I'm going to try calling this thing. Marie Shadow says she hasn't called Rick's number, and she's actually talking in the chat. I appreciate it very much so. And I am going to call Ric Flair's number right now and see what this crumb bum has to say. Let's call him a crumb bum. All right, let's see what Ric Flair says. All right. Let's turn my volume up because I turned it off during Casey Rocket. All right, here we go. 770-277-7150. Oh, I didn't hit the O. What am I doing? Let's try it again. 770-277-7150. All right, let's see. Put on speaker.
Thank you for calling. To speak to a representative, please press 0.
All right, let's speak to a representative. What the hell?
Thank you for calling. Please leave a message and your call will be returned as soon as possible.
Hey, this message is for the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Hey, Rick, how you doing? My name's Jay Leto of the PWP Nation podcast here on X right now. And I'm reading your tweets. You're kind of in a feud with Vince Russo here, which is something that I've loved for the last 25 years of my life. Woo! And I want to see it go down. I want to see Vince Russo show up in Atlanta or in Tampa. I want to see you rent the venue. And I want to see the Nature Boy go one-on-one for $20K with Russo, with Bischoff, with Jim Hurt. And I want to see the ding-dongs there too, brother. And I want to see you get a haircut like you had when you had this haircut, dude. I want to see it go down, brother. I want to see it in Atlanta. I want to see it in Tampa. And the Nature Boy, I am Jay Aletto. I love you, man. I hope you listen to this. I hope whoever listens to this gets this message to the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I love you. You're a freaking legend. And don't let anybody ruin these glory years of your life, Nature Boy. Woo! All right. So as you can see, no shit, I left that voicemail for Ric Flair right there. I'll even show you. It goes to Atlanta, Northeast Georgia. I won't show you my phone, but I'm sure you believe me that I called. I don't mess around with that kind of stuff. So I called Rick's number. Maybe I'll get a call back. I doubt he's listening to this, but the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And Marie Shadow's popping over there because I am unhinged maniac. Woo! Dude, what are we doing? All right, let's see what else is happening. I wonder if Eric Bischoff is getting in on this. Okay, this is just a Flair coin crypto ad. All right, let's refresh Flair's page and see if he has said anything else first. And he's not. Let's go back to Vince's page because I think Vince talked about the port thing. Okay, here we go. Here's Vince's next. Vince Russo, whatever candy I'm eating, at least I can afford to eat, which I'm not sure you can, end quote. That's what Ric Flair said to Vince. Vince Russo's response, bro, I never thought I'd be saying this to the GOAT, but you need to work on those comebacks. No hard feelings, Rick, just really disappointment. Part of me giving David the greatest push of his career was because, one, he deserved it. He was a great human being, extremely underrated with a pair of boots put before him that were impossible to fill. I also did it because of my admiration for you. So what Vince Russo's saying here before I go on is he's saying that he set David Flair up to be on the show, to be a part of Nitro, to be a part of Thunder, and to get a paycheck. Right? That's important. We're all talking a lot about paychecks. Oh, my bad. Clicked the wrong button. We talk about paychecks in wrestling all the time. Think about this. He got a paycheck for David Flair. He didn't have to do that. Let's go back to Vince Russo here. Throughout my entire life, I've never forgotten those who tried to help, were kind to, and encouraged my kids. Ask Billy Corgan. But I guess that's the difference between you and I. Our priorities in life are, and will always be totally different. My priority was never pro wrestling. It was always my family. I sincerely apologize for making your life a living hell. I didn't realize I did that until today. When we were working together, you gave me no indication of that. At the end of the day, I was just trying to do my job. I guess nobody's perfect. I'm going to actually give a like. I'm going to give a retweet to Vince Russo here. Vince Russo, man, one of the guys who I absolutely love. You're never going to see me say a bad word about Vince Russo. Let's continue here with Vince Russo. What I said today, I've been wanting to say for the last 25 years. Truth is that I would have went to my grave with it if Rick didn't wake up this morning and decide to take a public shot at me. I'm glad he did. Now it's off my chest. Good, Vince. I really like Vince Russo. A lot of people don't like him. I like him. I understand why Jim Cornette doesn't like him. I get all that. But, yeah. And I like Jim Cornette, too. I like Ric Flair. I like all these guys, man. I don't really like Dave. I like Al Snow. I like so many of these guys. The only person I really don't like right now is Jordan Grace. I don't think she's a good person. I think she's arrogant. All right. Now let's go back here to the Nature Boy Ric Flair on Twitter. And we'll see if Eric Bischoff has anything to say, because Flair keeps poking Eric Bischoff. If there's one thing that's for sure, over the last 25 years of my life, Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff have been going at it. Let's see here. Is Bischoff talking about it? No, Bischoff hasn't tweeted in forever, in 10 hours. Nothing from Eric Bischoff on this, but I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming. Let's see if there's any replies from Bischoff to this. Nothing. So Eric Bischoff has not yet responded to Ric Flair's insane rant. Let's go back to the Explore page. See what's going on here. It's National Iced Tea Day, guys. I'm sure you're excited about that. Do we have anything else going on in professional wrestling? Hey, let's check out my Facebook page, .com/PWPNation. This is where I need you to go to subscribe to what I do. This is where we do all of our monetization and all of our fun shenanigans, get the conversation going. We already have a live video going, so that's great here. Just post after post after post, good stuff, funny stuff, successful posts at the top. Here's our podcast right now. I'm going through it right now here. Bada bing, bada boom. Some good old-fashioned wrestling action you'll find on the PWP Nation Facebook page. This was originally posted on X by Vintage Puro, who I really like his account, and I'm always grabbing his compilations and putting them up there. Here's happening now, of course. Men were men. Hey, NXT last night, Lola Vice got a big win over Shayna Baszler at the UFC Apex. Really liked that show. It was fun. Keep it going here. Bianca Belair. Some more synergy between the UFC and the WWE. TKO Group Stock Watch. This is also my group. If you want to check that out, my page, you can do that. Scrolling down. Happy birthday goes out to Liv Morgan, who I love and respect and admire. So shout out to her. Happy birthday, Liv. And here we go. What killed WCW? And I'll tell you what I said, right? And you could take this. I'm not going to explain anything more here. You'll never convince me that this is what killed WCW, meaning this photo, the NWO. This is not what killed it, right? I think we can all kind of agree that WCW was not killed by the NWO. What killed WCW? Corporate greed. What killed WCW? Hapless, big-nosed, gray-haired suits that don't know the wrestling business. What killed WCW? Bugs Bunny and You've Got Mail. It wasn't Eric Bischoff. It wasn't Vince Russo, Ted Turner, or any single person. It was a corporate merger, an entity that no longer wanted wrestling. WCW was sold to Vince McMahon in one of the greatest value deals in wrestling history, and he ended up killing it again after it was already dead. And now we got to relive it over and over and over again. This post got a lot of likes here. Look, 398 comments, 42 shares, 745 on the likes. Lots of great conversation in there. You can dig in. Here's my SmackDown review. Simple. That's it. That's my SmackDown review, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Nothing else to say. Woo! And here's last week's show. But yeah, I just want to share that here. And back to the show. I think we're going to wrap it up unless anybody has any specific questions, comments, or anything happens in wrestling. I want to thank Casey Rocket. You can find Casey Rocket on Kill Tony live. Well, it won't be live. It's a tape show, but it was filmed live. Check out Kill Tony every single Monday night. I watch it after Monday Night Raw again because Monday Night Raw sometimes depresses me. I can't stand that show sometimes. So every once in a while, I will, not every once in a while, I'm sorry, every single week, I will turn on Kill Tony after Monday Night Raw and watch that because that always turns my frown upside down, baby. And and that probably will do it for today's show. And I really want to thank everybody for joining me. It looks like we've had about 50, 60 live here throughout the night. Got 50 plus on X. I greatly appreciate that. I've got to, get back in the good graces of X. I do want to apologize to Linda Yakaro, whatever her name is, Linda Yakaroro. They responded to me. I'll actually post what they responded to me because I did call them tyrants. I think it's bullshit. I'll leave you guys with this. I'll leave you with this. It's a shame. I really tried hard to get monetized through this platform. I didn't know that my strong language is bad, but other strong language is fine, and pornography and all that is good. But hi there. We understand these situations can be frustrating, but we do have a zero tolerance policy against aggressive, insulting, or demeaning language being used towards our team. Okay, so this means zero tolerance, meaning Zero tolerance. In what way? I don't work for you. X. This would include language used in your last response. Yeah, language used. You guys are tyrants, fucking bullshit. You people are liars and tyrants. What the fuck, man? Here. PW Nation, we appreciate your patience throughout this appeal process. After thorough review, our team has determined that your account does not comply with X's creator monetization standards. Specifically, your account is in violation of the strong language section of our standards. Unfortunately, this means your account has been permanently suspended from our ads revenue sharing program. So permanently suspended, take note of that. And then down here, they basically say, please consider this a warning that any further language like this will result in your case being closed without any further progress. What kind of progress can I get at this point, right? What kind of progress are you guys going to give me there at old X? You're not going to give me any progress. Yeah, this isn't going to be a way to move forward, X. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So I'll just say this in response. Fuck you and kiss my ass and fuck off. And I will try to bleed as much information as I can out of this platform and try to get as much play out of this platform as I can. But, you know, my days in X are probably numbered, if I'm being honest, because they don't want to shake up the wrestling niche, dude. They look at the people who like wrestling, the 18 to 49 male demographic. These are, for the most part, you know, military-aged men, for the most part. And they don't want them waking up. They want these guys eating fucking Skittles. They want these guys eating Papa John's, sucking on Bud Light and Modelo. They want you guys in a freaking brainwash slumber. They want you sleeping. They don't want you up working out with me at midnight. They don't want you doing that. They don't want you freaking using toothpaste without fluoride in it. They don't want you drinking clean water. They don't want you eating things that are good for your body, that are healthy to help you maintain composition, body mass composition throughout your life. They don't want you doing any of this stuff. They don't want you like pushing back against the system that they've constructed. And I'm not necessarily doing that. I'm just being me. I'm just being me. I'm genuine. I'm as genuine as you can get, baby. And sometimes it can be performative, of course. I will be performative. I am on a wrestling show from time to time. And that means that we will be performative every once in a while. And of course, you're always trying to be hyperbolic on the internet and try to make a wave. So that, I guess, will wrap it up tonight. I don't know anything else that I can really discuss. I will make note of another big thank you to Casey Rocket. I will show his information about his freaking tour coming up. Worldwide tour. I think at least statewide tour. I'm not sure if he's going around the world, but Casey Rocket, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate it. I'll watch it tonight in Kill Tony. I hope everybody watches Kill Tony. I'll probably be back at some point. Don't know when. If there's demand for these shows, please let me know. Throw a comment my way. Hit me on Twitter. Hit me on Facebook. Go to YouTube. Press subscribe. Press like. I'm going to get better as it goes. I'm still kicking the rust off my microphone here that was covered in dust. So thank you guys so much, and I appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon. I'm out of here. Peace.